Okay, welcome to One Stop Co-op
Four,
Shop.
3, 2, 1.
He's
Blast off!
Notice the latency.
there.
Oh, wait, that's
We were
my fault.
live.
I
We
got
were
my
live the whole
volume up.
time. You didn't count
There we
down.
go. The chaos is back. Here we are in full effect. We've even got a co-host.
Welcome. So this is our live chat. It's been a little bit because we had some scheduling issues, but we're back to do a weekly discussion about board game stuff. So we've got Bairnt and Derrick here with us, or with everyone here.
Hello.
Yes, I'm here. Don't worry. Yep, I'm here.
Cool. Okay, I see you got Ryan on the chat. Hey Ryan, how's it going? Hashtag don't lose your voice. Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully not.
That would be pretty bonkers.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Let's dive into it. So there's been some observations and just general trends I've been noticing, and I kind of want to engage this topic. I think it'd be kind of a fun topic to discuss. So I often see when a new game is shared or posted about that there is a quick response from others on it. Hey Snow, welcome. Quick response to it. And it can be on little things too, potentially. It could be something like, and this is an extreme example, like, oh, I don't like blue meeples, so I'm gonna skip over this game because the game has blue meeples in it. Real extreme example. I don't think I've seen that per se. But
no,
just
I'm going
like,
to guess that person also doesn't like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Exactly. It's being I don't want to say the words like hypercritical when it comes to games, and I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, and I think it is almost a necessity nowadays. I want to say, due to the fact that we have so many games coming out all the time. Like, I maintain my sanity by focusing on the cooperative side, which is, I don't know, 30% of games coming out nowadays. Like, most games are still competitive based. So I have no idea how people keep up with all the games when I just try to focus on the cooperative ones. Yeah, see, Snow mentioned it too. Hypercritical due to necessity, exactly, because you have so many games come out, and it kind of, I'm not going to talk about this hypercritical nature of it, right? Because we all have so much time to spend on this hobby, especially with our attention, right? And so, how do we approach that? And is this a good or bad thing, being hypercritical games? Because I don't know. I want to hear what you guys thinking of this one.
I don't think it's an or.
Okay.
I think it's an and, right? There is this. It's not that they're hypercritical due to necessity, but I think there's hypercritical due to necessity, and there's also hypercritical due to people having a taste for something specific and then being less tolerant of those who don't agree with that taste, or those who like the taste that like this style that others that they think is inferior. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
you're saying that
like
that can exist outside of the example of being inundated with so many new
yes,
games.
yes.
Gotcha.
So we are inundated with a lot of games. Yes, and there's also a subset of the community that, even though we're inundated with such games, if they see a theme and that theme didn't gel with them, then they are overly vocal about the theme that didn't gel with them and wanting to kind of make light or be negative about this thing as being very critical about it. Does that make sense? Is that a little bit more clear or no?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm tracking.
I'm not very hypocritical at all. I'm probably just the opposite.
You might be the opposite,
I really am. I mean, I try all genres of games. I love all genres of games. I play any team game. Somebody can put something on the table and I'll play it. There isn't a theme that makes me back away from it. Like, I know that, for example, like Kingdom Death Monster, there's a lot of people that don't want to deal with that theme. They're hypercritical of like just that what's in it, sure, as opposed to what it is. You know what I mean?
And that is what I mean. So
yeah,
that's what I'm getting to. It's like they're hypocritical because okay, KDM And so the things that go with KDM, they've never played the game.
No.
They've
And
never
the
tried it
stigma that
out.
goes with it is
But
like,
they're but they're like, oh, that game's dumb. It's like, why?
yeah. And I just think that it's something that everybody has to deal with in their own way, deciding if that's something that they want. And sometimes that's actually a good thing to have, because you're saving yourself from even giving a shot to something that you probably aren't going to like based on a theme or a mechanic or a blue meeple.
True, but the counter to that is you're also potentially limiting yourself to being surprised in something you didn't expect.
Yes. Oh, I totally agree. Yes. I get surprised all the time. Like, I went to play Ark Nova. I went and played Earth last weekend, and I was like, wow, these two games are lots of fun. I will never own them because I don't know any human on the planet in my gaming circle that would ever play a 3-hour game where you sit there and grow a planet, or a little area of Earth, or a zoo, or anything like that. But man, those two games were amazing. I had a ton of fun. I even tied for first place, so I was pretty excited about myself for not ever having played some of those games before. I was like, wow, I actually did something. And then, and again, so like I found a theme and a genre and a type of game that I probably never would have played if it wasn't for that particular instance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And now, I'm not hypercritical of those games, but I know that the people I play with are hypercritical of those type of games because it's just too much. They're not. I know that is not going to help them. They're not going to like it.
Yeah, so let's take a step back for a second. And Steve, if you can, define when we talk about being critical of gaming, define that a little. Can you say more? Like, I know you opened it up with that, but can you say more to that as the definition of being? When I think of the word being critical of something, my brain immediately goes to the negative connotation. And so I'm trying to see if I can get a definition of what you mean by that.
Yeah, and how to define that a little bit. And I think it's critical can be a very positive thing for sure. Absolutely. Especially when reviewing games. It's more of I'm focusing on how people initially respond to the introduction of something new, a new game. And somehow we can be very dismissive quickly. I remember on an online forum talking to some people, and there's a new game, and someone posted about it like, hey, this is like, what's going on about this game, and someone mentioned, hey, this reviewer rated it a 3 out of 5, and the response was, okay, I'm good, I'm not looking at this game anymore, I'm off.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, whoa, what does that even mean? Like, how can you make that decision so quickly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably on the extreme end. I don't think most people necessarily do that. Maybe they do, I don't know. But that's one of the... Go ahead.
Yeah, from that side, I see why they would do that, because now I'm coming around to understanding. So, if there is, because we are inundated with that so much content, so much games,
right?
We then gravitate towards, well, is this thing worth my time?
Correct.
Which then goes to, well, I don't want to buy a game to try it out, spend money to try it out to find out that it's not worth my time. Which then we go to, okay, well, let me watch a content creator who has this stuff, play it, which will tell me if it's worth my time. Then we'd go to the filter of which content creator most matches my likes on the type of board games that I like, and if they like this game, then I will too. And so, if someone trusts that creator to that extent, and then says, if they don't like it, I won't like it. There's fairness in that, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I would worry about that though, just because if the creator said, "Hey, you might like this because XYZ factors," as opposed to just a number, like how do you interpret the number is going to align to your likes and dislikes? I struggle with that one a lot. Actually, Snow has a very good, interesting comment here. Mm-hmm. I think there can be overly positive in the hypercritical too, maybe hypocritical. It's Simon, I'm in dragons, gimme, right? And that's a good point too. You could be critical the other way as well.
Very, very true. I mean, I'm almost guilty of that. But I mean, at first when I started getting games, I was like that. I was like, oh my gosh, a dungeon crawler, that's gonna be amazing. I gotta try this. Oh my gosh, look, another one. Look at the minis on that thing. But now, like, it's gotten to the point where it's a little out of control, and so I've I dig a little bit deeper into them because now I look, a dungeon crawler. Let's see what it does that's different from the other 12 I've got.
Right.
That's just where I am now. So at first I was all about done like, oh my gosh, Cool Mini or Not, Arcadia Quest, oh my gosh, Myth, oh my gosh, all these great games that are like Kingdom Death Monster. I got to have all these games. Now I've gotten a little bit more picky on the type of game I'm going to have, mainly because of a time issue more than anything else. I mean, am I going to have the time to play enough of that game to make it worth me having that game? Does that make sense? I think that's another thing you got to factor in. Like my wife has said, she will never play a 3-hour game with me. She has no reason. That's too much. That's too much. So do I need those 3-hour games? I don't know. I mean, but I know I'll like it. And then I have to decide if that's something I need in my collection because I'm going to play it over and over. Now I'm not, and that's the stage of gaming gathering that I'm at. I used to be that idea of like, oh my gosh, Cool Mini or Not, it's going to be amazing. Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing because it's this company. Oh my gosh, it's this type of game. I'm going to love it. I have to get it. And now I've kind of backed off.
Some games I still am like that. Marvel United, I was like, you just had to say Marvel United, and I'm like, all in. well, you don't know what they're adding to it, all in. just
all in.
That's
pets.
That's
Pets, Derrick.
Even though that stabs me in my soul, I still went all in on it.
She hates that word. My wife hates that word because that means just 4 more boxes on top of the core game.
4 boxes. Marvel United laughs at you.
yes, it does. Oh my gosh.
No, but I think that's come from me doing research on a game, right? Marvel United took me a lot of plays, as Steve, as you remember when I first tried it before. I was like, yeah. This is for me. So it wasn't just watching. I did watch Steve's content, but it wasn't just watching that content. It was me actually trying the game.
I was the same way. But yeah, and I guess that's where I'm torn on this whole topic. I want to kind of bring it to the forefront because at one point it feels like a necessity just to maintain our sanity. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this chat on how I've basically focused on cooperative games. I do that for my own sanity because there's just way too many games to try to keep track of. And I know there's tons of competitive games out there that I probably enjoy. So I'm very hypercritical in that sense. But how do we maintain this necessity to maintain our mental fortitude here, so not go crazy with all these games, and still not miss out on something that we could accidentally skip over, right?
Yeah, I think that's kind of gotten to that realm now. I think like before there wasn't a lot out there when it came to some of the genres, but now I think every genre's got something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really think that you're going to miss out. That's just going to be part of the deal now.
Yeah.
And I think that's where word of mouth, friends, and just overall like the community is going to help you get to that point where you're like, hey, I need to try that. There's enough of these people are saying that this is something I got to try, even if it was something I already have in my wheelhouse, or it's something that's out of my wheelhouse. I'm like, hey, I've got Feast of Odin here I'm supposed to play at some point. Now, I'm not a Euro person at all, but I love playing Euro games with friends. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'd ever solo it. So when I see Euro games, I just pass right over them because I know somebody in my circle will get that, and I'll be able to just play with them at some point. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And Ortiz had an interesting one that he has
a great comment.
Or he said, I appreciate when content creators are critical. It comes off as genuine and not serving producers. Mm-hmm. That builds trust in me as a consumer. Yeah. Some dudes do that better than others. Yeah. And that's true. I think there's a difference, though, in terms of a slight difference, but a difference, though, in someone being honest about how they feel about a game. And that's why I said, like, critical's a hard word for me. Well, so someone being honest with how they feel about a game, and someone being critical of a game, like they could come off genuine saying that, but it could be serving towards the producer, or it could be serving towards that they just had a bad day and this game is just what they're gonna land base that day. So it's a weird dichotomy.
And I think I like this comment. I think this is a little bit of a different topic, or different use of the being critical, because that one content creators being critical implies that they've had experience with the game, right? Or they've investigated
enough experience.
Enough. There you go. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and that's totally fine. Like, I have no problem being critical of games. If you like a game because you tried it out or whatever, no big deal. Whatever, it's fine.
But that's my biggest problem, is I can't do that.
It's like when you are, how do you filter out which games you pursue, which ones you don't? And I know Snow had an interesting comment down here too. It says, if I don't know about it, I won't miss it, which is one approach, right? But I think I'm probably an oddball where I will research games even. Hey, wait, hey,
you're an oddball.
Hey.
He didn't even let you finish the sentence.
Sorry, Steve. I'm so sorry. Why do you even bite me sometimes?
But like I like to read up on games that I know I'm not going to play, and I don't know how many others do that. Like, but I like doing that for a couple of reasons. One, because I generally just like to see how games work. That's, to me, it's seeing the rule book and seeing how the mechanics interact is really fun for me. This is something that Mike and I share on One Stop for sure. We both have that take a lot of enjoyment out of that. The other one is I love talking about games with other people, and even if I haven't played the game, I like to know a little bit about it, so then I can share in what you like about it. Because it's not, I don't need to enjoy the game. That's not what provides me joy. I get enough joy talking about something you love too. And so being able to engage on that level is very important to me. So then for those two factors, I do read up on games I don't actually intend on pursuing.
Yeah, that's hella mature. I like that. I like that a lot. I really respect the hell out of that. My thing of that is I struggle with rule books, so I don't do that. but my research comes from watching others do live plays of games that I potentially won't play, but I'm curious to see how the mechanics work.
Yeah.
But I guess my thing is I could talk about it, but my conversation can't. It's not an intelligent conversation because I haven't played the game and I haven't read the rule book. It's just, hey, I watched Gaming Rules play a game, and when y'all talk about it, it's like, well, it didn't look like that. Well, did you read the rule book? No. So I can't have an intelligent conversation about the game, just about what I saw someone's interpretation and playthrough of the game is, which Gaming Rules does a great job because he used to be a rulebook writer. But in terms of any other content creator who may get a rule wrong, if I say, well, I didn't like that this happened, well, that's because that person got it wrong. So I can't partake in that joy that I would love to, because
that's what subtitles are for.
Sometimes
Come in and you go, oh, I forgot to roll a die there.
Well, I think that's probably more depth than I would even attempt to go. I would probably, because when I read up on stuff, I'm like, hey, do you see that new Marvel Champions character, right? I haven't played them, but like, hey, these mechanics look cool. What do you think about it, right? And then like, I can't get into the depth of like, well, this card is imbalanced and this needs to be modified. Like, I don't know. I didn't try it out.
Right.
But at least can engage on like how they represent the character, do the theme and the mechanics, and a surface level dive, which helps me share with others. So
one of my problems is the fact that a lot of my games have like stuff you don't want to have spoiled. So it's like, it's like, oh, hey, did you play that game? I did. Oh, did you get to hear? No, I'm only on the second YouTube. Like, oh, well, so what's the last thing that happened to you? Oh, it's going to be really good. And then you got the guy who's like, oh, just wait till episode when you get to the 5th one where you fight the boss with a giant axis that spins around and hits you 3 times. Like, okay, wait, what? Stop.
That is definitely, that's definitely a rough part of having conversations about games you haven't played, is the spoiler aspect.
Mm-hmm. But then again, it's like you can still talk about, like, for example, the rule book. If you read it, I usually only read about half the rule book and then just get half the rules wrong. That's usually how I do my playthroughs. It just makes things a lot easier. So, I mean, for example, I got the 250-page rule book I got to read now. I'm like, that's like, I might as well just that's like grabbing a novel for me. I'm a slow reader, and I don't have a good, I'm not good at reading, not good at a lot of things. So it's just one of them.
You are incredible.
If
no one knows this, Bairnt is just 100%. Like he is incredible. I love this guy. He's amazing.
I was rambling, I think.
You rambled? No, never.
No.
Yeah. So
in
terms of being critical of games, there's a positive and negative aspect. Now that I needed to seek to understand more about what you meant by that.
Mm-hmm.
So the positive aspect of it is that it informs people whether this is in their wheelhouse or not, like Ortiz said. The negative aspect is that you could actually miss something really, a diamond in the rough, because it had a specific mechanic that you weren't thrilled about.
It can be, yeah, and also I worry it has implications to indie developers a bit, and publishers, meaning that when Chip Theory Games or CMON or whoever comes out of the game, everyone has eyes on it, everyone's looking into it, generally. Of course, there might be some people who just don't like CMON or Chip Theory for whatever reasons, they skip over it because the publisher. But generally, I don't normally see that being the case. But if a relatively unknown publisher comes out with maybe the first game or second game they've ever made, like, I feel like there's a much higher chance for people to skip over on those games.
It is easier to get a person to like a game if it's from a publisher they trust. They've built a level of trust already.
Right.
And yes, you can be critical of like companies themselves, like you're saying. I have a tendency to dive more into those where it's like, hey, let's see what this is all about. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been burned a few times with some games that I got, and I'm like, what is this? And then I start playing it. I'm like, ooh, this is not the way I thought it was going to be. It's not my type of game. But then I've been pleasantly surprised over and over again.
Sure.
I mean, there's like when I got a copy of Madara, when I got a copy of Rogue Angels. I mean, those I read a little bit of the rule book. It wasn't unfinished, and I was like, oh, I would still have to give this a try. And I start playing. I'm like, wow, this is absolutely going to be amazing. And I think. And are a lot now that I just kind of, when I get an email from something, I just pass over because I know I ask if it's cooperative or competitive. And then when it comes back at me as competitive, I just know it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Sure, I could still get it and maybe play with my wife and stuff, but it's really tough to kind of get a lot of that to the table when there's still so many games that are critically acclaimed that we haven't played yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Am I still talking?
Yes, you're still talking.
Okay. Were
you unsure?
I just want to make sure it's making sense. I'm waiting for the coffee's almost kicked in. So I want to make sure I was making sense. Am I even on topic?
You're on topic. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, you're good.
You're good. But yeah, so I don't know if there's a solution here, and it's just something I've been thinking about.
There isn't a solution, Steve. I think all different people are going to have their own ways of of deciding what games are best for them and how they're going to decide if they're best for them. And if they want to skip out on something that might be really great because it just doesn't have something that they think they're going to like or not like if you don't like zoos, does that mean Arc Nova is not for you? I mean, first off, who doesn't like zoos? And oh, really? You're not a zoo guy?
Okay.
That's amazing. See, look at this co-op chat learning about our friends.
You mean former friends at this point.
Next co-op chat, all 10, we're going to list off 10 things that we love and don't love, and we're going to learn about each other. Derrick will not go anywhere near Shamu. Afraid it doesn't like zoos.
My dislike of zoos are not because of animals, but because of treatment.
Oh, okay.
Treatment of animals at said zoos.
Yeah.
My wife's helping me stay on topic.
Yeah, but that's a different topic.
That's fair. So I think this ties into a little bit interesting topic about FOMO.
Yeah.
So FOMO is fear of missing out, of course,
Hmm.
and this happens a lot in board game community where people will see brand new game, big publisher. I need to get this game because I don't want to miss out on it, right? But if you think about all these other games you were critical of that you skipped over on because XYZ reasons, whatever they happen to be, and I don't think you feel FOMO in that situation.
Right.
So I guess the question is like, why?
Say
What's the
say say
difference?
that say that ask that question a different way. I'm struggling with
Well, I'm kind of implying that like some games you get that FOMO grab because everyone's talking about it. At least I think this is the key difference.
Or it's the hotness on Board Game Geek or
What's
something.
hotness
It's
exactly? What's
like, oh
hotness?
my gosh, Earth right now is like off the chart. I got to get that game because it's number one in the Board Game Geek list. Everybody's talking about it. I got to try that game out. Not really looking into it, but then missing out on number 250 that came from a publisher that you don't know that actually is probably up your alley because it has a lot of the themes and stuff you're interested in. Is that what you're
Yeah,
going with, Steve?
yeah. Snow's also mentioning it here too. It's also perpetuated by peer pressure. Like all your friends, virtually otherwise, are hyped about the game, so you get FOMO too. Just different peer pressure, right? Because you're seeing all these people talk about it, and you get that FOMO. But like these other games you were critical of, you skipped over. So can we apply that same metric to fight FOMO? I don't know.
I can definitely tell that Derrick just eats up peer pressure.
I am a board. What am I called? I'm called an information broker. That's all I do. I'm an information broker. I pass on information.
I don't see Derrick ever really going with peer pressure. He does not seem like the person that would ever
So,
like.
says the guy who just got the ghost soul forms for sorcery.
Oh, that's awesome! I've got all the cool souls too.
So I'm my brain's running on this one because I don't think there's a solution to this problem.
No,
It's
I think
part
there's.
of I think this is just how the system works.
Yeah.
Where everyone gets hyped about something, they focus on that thing, and the other things get kind of fall by the wayside.
Right.
How do we fix it? I don't think we can. Oh, and I don't think we can because that means changing people's minds, and we shouldn't be trying to do that. It's just more if people are hyped about something because something's been marketed well.
That's the deal.
That's
I mean, how many
capitalism.
people own ShamWow? ShamWow did a great job of marketing their towels, so we all
Yeah.
have ShamWows.
So, but then you get into well, the smaller devs don't have the funding to be able to market as much. Okay, so there are other avenues other than throwing a big commercial up about this upcoming game that you can get the hype around. So there are other avenues to spread the word, especially in this community. So I don't know if this is a problem to solve. I guess.
No.
I think it can cause a little bit of problems, and I'll point out Snow's comment here. She's saying you can feel very lonely on One Stop Co-op Shop Discord, for example, if you're not into Marvel, which is very true. We have a strong, united community and champion community on there, right? If
That's why I quit One Stop Discord. I signed off. No, I'm kidding. I did not. I did not do
like
that.
seriously?
No, I did not. I did not.
There's like 10 billion other channels. So, this one is another subjective one for me.
I think there's so many people on that Discord that you're gonna if you look to again, I think like what Kanji was saying about the games and stuff. If you're looking at the big picture, there's a lot of Marvel, but then a little bit past it, there could be people talking about other things. It's just a matter of finding that niche and things like that.
Right. But you also don't want to.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump on top of you, Derrick.
Yeah, you don't want to like feel like people are being isolated.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Like, you want to, of course, you want to talk about what you enjoy, right? Mm-hmm. But you also want to be welcoming to others and making sure you take time to engage on their topics as well, right? Whatever they're interested in. And I think that can often, and this is just a general societal good practice thing, um, to make sure you take time to engage on what other people enjoy, not always what you do per se. And it's hard to do it in the online community environment. So
That's fair. I think that's fair and that's definitely a way to look at it. I think the tough part of it is what is the thing that you enjoy. So in Snow's case, we all know Snow, so she likes Primal.
Oh,
So, but my thing is, I don't have any context of Primal to talk to you about Primal about.
Same.
If it's an upcoming game, I can't speak intelligently about it because it's like, well, go read the rule book. No. Have you seen me with a rule book? So it's like, if we're talking about a game that's in existence and we both agree that we're like, okay, well, we both like something about it, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
What happens then what happens in this practice you're talking about, Steve, when it's like, I don't like anything about the game, but you want to talk to me about it? I'm like, I'll listen to you. I'll be open to that. But we can't have a discussion because I'm like, yeah, that mechanic was, yeah, I see how you like it.
I mean, I mean, in
Well,
that
sounds like a
sense,
lot
I
of polo
normally.
fans, Derrick. No, I'm totally kidding.
Well,
I'm not. I'm not making any sense.
You gotta put a laugh. Go ahead, Steve.
I think the difference there is being, even if you don't like a game, you don't have to resort to saying as much necessarily. I mean, you can of course, speaking mind, but you don't always have to bring it up. Be like, oh yeah, that one game can't just talk about. Guess what? I don't like it again. I don't like it again. It's like, well, I know you don't like it. That's fine. But like, you can also engage on what, like, dig into why they like it, right? And then you can always find some common ground that way.
Get curious.
Hey, I like it because it has these multi-use cards. Oh, cool! I like that too. I like in this other game. That's cool. That's really fun.
Yeah.
So that's where I find the common ground comes into play, even if you haven't played that type of game or know much about it. So
yes,
that's
I
fair.
agree. Yeah, and you know what? I think I know we've talked about this topic multiple times, but that's I mean, really, if you look, that's one of the reasons that my channel is what it is. I don't like to do reviews. I like the game to stand on its own, and like Colin kind of taught me that. That's kind of how he does things.
Yeah.
It's a very Minnesotan way of doing things. We don't like to say bad things about things, so we just let them stand on their own 2 feet, and if they want to falter on their own, that's totally fine. Sometimes at the end, Colin and I will both, I know I'm just saying that because both of us have very similar video styles. Well, we might say something like, hey, this, like, especially my unboxings, I'll do something like, hey, if you're really into dungeon crawlers, or if you're into do like a big like campaign, this would totally be right up your alley. Or if, like, for example, my dungeon one that I'm doing was it League of Dungeoneers, doing soon. If you're into like this big kind of open world and having almost really having an experience where you are like almost like it's almost like having a Dungeons & Dragons experience in a box, like type thing. You're having that full open world experience. Then that's really a kind of great game for you. But I mean, that's about the only thing I really ever say. I like to have the game stand on its own. Sadly, for my unboxings, you're not going to get that a lot of times. But I do enough research, like Steve does, when it comes to reading rule books and stuff, that before I do an unboxing, I know what that game is that's sitting in front of me. I don't just go like, I'm going to open this game and not really sure what it's all about. I'm like, then why are you opening the box? I mean, why are you doing this? Because there's people that are coming to see it don't want to just watch your hand like rip things open and throw things around. I mean, I like them.
Well, some people do. Some people do.
True. And I understand why people do that. There a lot of people are looking to say like, okay, did I get everything? Let's just make sure, like, what did this guy get compared to what did that guy get? Stuff like that. See if there's something I missed or anything like that. I know that's one reason people do that kind of stuff, but I like to educate as I go.
Yeah.
And that, I think that is a big help, because that is, again, starting to help people think, hey, would this game be for me? Should I try this game out, or should I just pass over it? I mean, that's, I really, it's the community has been absolutely phenomenal when it comes to like unboxing videos. They're saying like, you do a great job because you actually tell me what this is. You're not just like, oh, I got this box called Sand castle. Let's see what this is all about. And you start opening up. Oh, look, there's sand. I don't know what you're gonna do with this. So maybe build a castle. Maybe build a castle.
I think I'll say and I'll come clean to the community. I've done those before where like when something's coming in, I've opened it up unknown what's inside because I end up reading the rule book and then my first playthrough I tell you what everything is. It's just more I think the hype of wanting to share with the community this new thing that came in from my perspective. I'm not saying that that's right or wrong or anything. I agree with your points as well as mine. I agree with mine. I think it's just more when for my response is when a game comes in that I've been super pumped about. I want to share it with the community, and so I throw up a stream that just says, "Hey, it hit the porch, it hit the table," and then I just pop it open. And then I pop it open and read it through. However, I do respect the hell out of how you do it as well in your format, where you're like, I'll get it, I'll read the rule book, and then we'll do an unboxing together. Where mine is just kind of like the blind, let's just see what's inside. Oh my God.
And I have so much respect for you doing a live unboxing. If you watch any of my unboxing videos, the secret to my unboxing videos, which we always love to share our secrets because there are no secrets, is oh, hey, here's this game. First off, I've already probably backed it, so I know what this game's a little bit about, right? And so I'm talking about it before that I unbox, and I throw open the first thing that I'll throw open the lid, and the first thing that sits on top of that box is the rule book. Now, I've grabbed this rule book. Oh my gosh, I got the rule book. This is gonna be great. We'll have to read through this and see what this is all about. And then boom, tape stopped. And then like for the next like 3 minutes, I kind of paged through a little bit and kind of and then I also looking at kind of the website of the thing I'm looking. And so my unboxing, when it comes to unboxing them, usually take the videos themselves about 30 minutes, but it's usually about a 2-hour extravaganza to get this thing unboxed because I look at it and you know what else? I hate when publishers do this. They don't put what's in the box in the rule book. I need that. I need that. Then I can put it to the side and be like, okay, here's our punch boards. And these right here are going to be our tokens for health. These are going to track our consumption abilities. And these like, I have no idea what a consumption ability is right now, but I'm going to tell you because it's in that.
Yeah. So and all that for me is just kind of the two ways of doing it. To me, there's no right or wrong in it. It's just what the preference that is. Sure. For the FOMO side of things, my middle name is FOMO. Just hi, I'm Derrick FOMO Daniel. And so, but with those different, like with FOMO for me, it's evolved over time. When I first got into board gaming, it was everybody says this game is amazing, give me everything for it. Right. Now it's all right, let me watch a couple playthroughs of somebody doing something. All right, let me talk to Steve and Bairnt about it.
All right. And then talk to Steve again.
And then talk to Steve again. And then go to Game of Palooza, and Steve and I spend an hour just sitting at the table talking about it. And then it's like, okay, I tried out. Okay, I like it. All right, give me everything.
Yeah. I wish I had that ability.
I can't do the just buy the core box and play it to see if you like it. That's why I do a ton of research up front because I know I am not capable of just buying a core box of a game when there is other stuff out there for it. Like right now, I'm holding myself back from buying Immortal Souls because I know Steve has it. And so I'm like, I can support Steve. I don't need to buy it.
Now, I know we've gone completely off topic. Sorry, Steve.
That's normal.
And yep, totally gone.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yep, we have failed you, as always, here on the co-op chat. And now, of course, Bairnt, in his apology, has forgot what he was going to say in his next sentence. Oh boy, yep.
Well, I could jump in real quick.
Yeah.
I think this is a good topic for the future.
Bring us back.
Yeah.
But like, talking about the core experience of a game, and talking about expansions, and this is something that's very difficult from a reviewer, content creator standpoint. Because everyone eventually goes through and reviews the core experiences. But sometimes the expansions can have major impact on the game as a whole, the game system as a whole, the design space. And I think one that I think Derrick would agree with me on is the Marvel United core box.
No.
Is lackluster, to say the least.
season 1.
Yeah. But a lot of the content in what it's evolved into as the game as a whole has changed a lot, and it's going to change even more when season 3 delivers. And so the question is, and this would be a good topic for another time, is how do you approach that from a reviewer standpoint, right? Like, especially if you didn't like the game, do you go back and play the new stuff and see how it's changed and maybe you change your opinion? I don't know. It's really tough.
It's hard.
It's
It's hard, Steve. It's hard. That's a great topic. I remember what I was going to say now. I do. The one thing I'm starting to like is like some of the people that are doing like, okay, here's the all-in Kickstarter pledge. Let's say, putting numbers, not a real big deal. $2,000, right? Okay, that was pretty big. Let's go with like maybe $200. Right, all in Kickstarter pledge $200. Core game $50.
What the game are you buying?
Katie
Don't tell my wife. Don't tell my wife what I bought. Okay. Don't tell my wife. But if you're interested, like the cool thing about it, and some of the people are doing, like I think Aeon Trespass did this. I think Awaken Realms sometimes does this when they do their 2-wave shipping. They reopen that pledge manager, so you sometimes have already gotten the core pledge and have able to play it, and then you can decide, oh my gosh, this was really good. I can hardly wait for more content, and then you can into the pledge manager. Of course, not everybody, it doesn't always work that way, and a lot of times you're still now your all in pledge is $250 instead of $200, so you did miss out on $50, so now you're kind of kicking yourself and you want to go, and you got to go back and forth. And we're going to talk about this on another topic.
Your wife listening, by the way.
I know she's listening. She loves me dearly. I haven't heard any feet pound. My wife has not pounded on the floor yet, so I think I'm doing okay. I think she's got the broom.
There was something that y'all said earlier on.
We did?
On the topic that we're covering that I've been kind of chewing on, and I want to ask both your opinion.
Sure. We're covering a topic.
Can you? One of the things you said, Bairnt, is that you run through a video and let the game stand on its own.
Yeah.
Is that possible? Because is it possible to let a game stand on its own when you play a game? Because one, how you feel about the gameplay comes out, and two, I guess I'll stop there and just say, no matter what we do as humans, whatever we do, how we feel about something shows.
Yes.
So in gameplay, is it, and Steve, please, if I'm off topic, let me know. In gameplay, can a game stand on its own? I don't think it can.
I think they do on my channel.
Well,
and I can tell you why.
Okay.
It's because I'm not playing the game because it's a game. I'm playing the love of games. And so every game that I'm playing, I truly, really enjoy at that point in time when I'm playing it. So it is standing. Again, I try to do as little bias as possible. So as you're seeing it played on my channel, if you look at one versus another, I don't think you're going to see too much of a difference in how much I'm enjoying whatever game I'm playing. I don't think there's much difference because I'm genuinely enjoying usually what I'm playing on the table all the time. And especially when it's like a first play of it, because I'm really excited to see how this game is going to happen and unfold in front of me. The only issue when it comes to trying to make a game stand on its own is if there's stuff that keeps on coming out, you can't show that. And so that's where the issue comes for me when it comes to trying to get a game to stand on its own. If you're just playing through Assassin's Creed first 3 missions to show how the game plays, you've showed how the game plays, and those are the mechanics. Now, you're not going to see the mechanic that's opened in episode 12 be like, or a big twist that happens on episode 15 or something like that as you're playing it, right. Which I think is kind of that's where the sadness comes in. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But if you're playing something like Spirit Island, and you're playing with different, the only thing now you're missing out on is what those other spirits can do, unless you do a full gambit of all of them. That's the only way to get something to stand.
Okay, I follow. So you're saying, so you're saying basically that you'll play the game, but if you're not enjoying the game, then there won't be more of that game. But the game stands on its own in terms of I will play the game and I will give you the information.
Give you a picture, and
then if I don't like it, if I don't like it, then there you have the information. The game stands on its own. I don't need to do more. basically.
Right. That could be one way to look at it. Or else the fact that I just don't have the time to get back to it. That
Fair
could be
enough. Fair enough.
another
Okay.
problem I have. I mean, I haven't played. I mean, like I did a playthrough of Lands of Galzir. I don't know if I'm going to come back to that one, just because, again, how much do I want to spoil for people, again, to play it. Those are another issue. And the other one is my kids really like it, so I play it with them. And I'm not really going to have a chance to get it back to the channel, because by the time I get back there, we've already played it 6 other times, and it's an evolving game. So that one's never going to come back. But that one, I was in my top 10, but you're never going to see it again on the channel. That's just the deal. So, and especially with some dungeon crawlers and things, again, how far do you want to go before but there are, yes, I will tell you honestly, there are some games that probably hit the table that I was like, this game's super cool, I'm really having a great time, but it never comes back because either A, something else filled its spot, or the void, or else it just didn't hold up as I continued playing it. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So Snow made this comment. I agree that Bairnt's enthusiasm is kind of universal, which I definitely agree.
Yes.
Now, I think, to be fair, I think Bairnt is kind of unique in that regard. At least I can't do what Bairnt does. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, you can. You just make bad jokes and you don't read the rules. That's usually
So you'll see it more in when I play games. They won't stand on their own in that regard, because some of them I'm generally excited for, and some of them are like, here's the game. Some people like it. I might not.
Yeah.
So
and that's where I struggle. And maybe it's more work I have to do on myself, honestly, to grow as a person. Is that if I'm hyped about a game, I'll be hyped about it. But after I play it a couple times, because you must, before you can form a proper opinion, and it's not holding up, it comes out of me.
Yeah.
Right? Where you see that I'm not enjoying it. And I don't want to do the game a disservice. I don't want to do the community a disservice. And I'm not saying that's what's happening. It's just more, I feel that when you see it coming out of me, that's when I need to take a look and be like, is this something I want to keep doing? Like, if they're bad dice rolls, that's just funny to me. Like, I enjoy bad dice rolls. Bad dice luck for me is the reason why I'm here. It's just more, I want to, when people, from my perspective, and I'll just say this and then stop. From my perspective, when I do my content, it's more, we're playing a game together.
Yeah.
Which means that if I'm sitting, and Steve's seen this when we play games that haven't hit it for me, you actually notice me not enjoying it. And so my thing is, if I'm not enjoying it, I want to be able to say, I'm not enjoying this. But then once again, that goes to what Bairnt said about, I'm not letting the game stand on its own. You're seeing how I feel about it.
And that's totally,
I think that could be a negative thing. But
it's also a positive thing. I thought one of the greatest episodes you did was your Oathsworn episode 10 or 8 or whatever. 8. I thought that was a phenomenal episode because you played the game again. You went through the motions of doing it. And then at the end, you kind of said, okay, you know what? I've really given this a shot. And I think that was so genuinely the truth that you speak on your channel, I think, is what's the most important.
Agreed.
And I think that's also important when it comes to gaming. Sadly, I think some of the stuff I do, it's just, I'm so excited for the games themselves that the truth of what is behind that game doesn't really come out sometimes. Like, as I'm playing, it's like, this is super cool, super cool, super cool. And then 4 days later, when I played it with like 2 other people or something, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I don't really think this, but you never get that from me. Where when you did that episode, that was so good because there were a lot of people saying like, no, it's because of this. That's really, you should try this. Even me, I was out there going like, you should play with all the cards. They're really cool. But having that genuine, like, hey, I want to tell you why I'm not doing this anymore. It's a lot better than sometimes just things disappearing.
Yeah.
You know
it was that was y'all have no idea the anxiety, and that was such a very vulnerable moment to do that. But I felt like I owed it to myself as well as the community to not just say, because I've been overly hyped for it. So to not just say kind of, okay, I'm done. It's just more, here's the reason why, and these are the things that didn't sync with me. We can talk about it. We can agree to disagree, but this is just where it lands. And it felt good to just be able to be honest about it, but it also felt very vulnerable and scary to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, you had good justifications around it, right? Which I think helped a lot.
Yeah.
If people don't agree with the justification, they won't. They move on. No big
Right,
deal.
right.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to have their own opinion. I mean, you even saw me on there screaming at you, going like, "Oh, you totally like it. It's so good. What are you doing? Just get to the next boss," like stuff like this. But I mean, at some point, a game is you're done with the game. That's just,
Yeah.
and it didn't it for how much you try, and that's just not just those four. I'm just saying any game in general.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's you eventually get to a point where you're kind of like, I've really kind of like, for me, I know this is probably gonna, Steve, cover your ears for just a second. You know? I'm selling all my Aeon Trespass, or not? No, wait. So let me try this dance again.
Wait,
Not Aeon
what?
Trespass,
What?
sorry, Aeon
What?
Odyssey.
Wait.
Wait, what's this game
Wait.
You
again?
said
What?
Aeon's Trespass. I thought you were doing this.
No, wait. It's the Aeon's End.
Oh, okay. That's
Aeon's End. Okay. Because wow, okay. Well, stop with the hate in the comments. No, I'm kidding. There's no hate in it.
I almost got up and left.
And it's not because it's a bad game. It's because the amount of it I've played now, I've gone, okay, yep, I see this, totally done. Got it. No, don't need to go any farther. Don't need any more expansions. Don't need anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's just, even though when I originally got it, super hyped for it, played the heck out of it. Steve and I, and who was it? Who did we play with? The Howard? Was that the other person that played with us on that
Maybe?
live?
I forget. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. That's good memory. We played with another member of the community, like on Tabletop Simulator, and we had a great time doing it. But I realized that while I was playing those games, like Derrick, I was like, now I feel like I'm kind of just going through the motions. I'm not really seeing me wanting to get back to this game ever again.
Yeah, I can't move on from that one too, honestly. So.
So I mean, and that's kind of, I think that's not necessarily the fault of the game. I think it's the fault of the evolution of gaming in general. Which wow. Okay, so next week we've got 5 topics to cover.
Every week we have 5 topics to cover next week.
And we haven't even really touched on this one well enough. We've kind of gone on 9 tangents.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I'm going to throw another wrench in here too.
Oh, please, come on.
Right, throw it.
Okay, this will wrap up the chat because I know we're good derailing. Ortiz mentioned this. He says, since you guys derail from time to time, we do. No.
We're always on topic.
I know. If I may ask you, gentlemen, how hype are you for the upcoming Awaken Realms games? Too much or way too much?
Nemesis, yes, because I have experience with Nemesis. Nemesis and Lockdown are amazing games, so I'm hype about. I'm very curious about how it's going to play. Pokemon, whatever the other game is that's Pokemon.
So let's recap the game so everyone knows. There's basically 3 games: Nemesis Retaliation, Dragon Eclipse, and Stalker are the 3.
Yeah, Dragon Eclipse is Pokemon.
Yep, there's a Pokemon one. Yep.
So Dragon Eclipse is I'm curious, but not overly. And Stalker, I heard it's a stealth game. I'm out.
What about you, Steve?
I'm surprised that there's another Nemesis. I'm happily surprised because Nemesis was something I enjoyed. Nemesis Lockdown, I enjoyed even more. Seeing that trend, I'm hoping Nemesis Retaliation I like even more. So, I don't know. We'll find out. But I will definitely play it because those games are fun, and I'm sure Bairnt is going to be all over it. I'm excited to see his response to it, particularly.
Yeah.
Am I hyped for it? No. Am I looking forward to it? Yes.
Yeah, overly curious. That's what
curious,
I'm overly
exactly.
curious.
I'm all in on the Nemesis game.
And the Dragon Eclipse
I am all not in on the Dragon game.
Well, that's the one I'm kind of curious about.
I know, but like Derrick said, I'll look into it when it comes out and see what I think. But at the moment when they showed it off, I'm like, big old.
And the problem that I had with that viewing from Awaken Realms is there was no gameplay.
Yes.
And then I don't think they're going to get gameplay at that point, just because I think so much stuff is still in its preliminary.
Well, then that to me means you don't have that video. That to me means you don't have that set. Steve and I were talking back and forth throughout the entire presentation, and both of us.
I was working. I hate you all.
Well, we were too, quote unquote.
Oh yeah.
But what came off of that we both kept saying to each other is, where's the gameplay content? What do the components look like? What's the table presence look like? And we weren't seeing any of that. And so
Right.
Awaken Realms has gotten to the point in their career or their self as a company where they have built enough street cred that this video that they showed was unnecessary, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have something to show, don't show it. Don't save that video for when someone said, for when we're like, okay, we have actual component content. That doesn't mean you have to play the game, but we have actual component content that people can see. Otherwise, you're wasting my time with pictures. And so my thing is, if with Nemesis, you've got an established name, so you can say Nemesis and people will be curious.
Right.
But you have these other titles that you don't know, that no one knows, and you don't show anything about it. All you say is, here's a picture of a dragon sitting on a field. All right, so there's that. And you'll be able to capture animals and fight with the animals that you capture. And everyone thinks Pokemon, but you can't dissuade that because you have nothing to show for it.
No, I totally agree with you. 100%.
So
I don't think that but just seeing what I saw on the table, I know no matter what I'm going to get. Nemesis is actually reveal was the worst one of the three. It was kind of there was almost nothing I could really take away from it except that Nemesis was coming. Whee! The dragon one, like you said, until I see something that's great. The Stalker one, I think has a lot of promise. I'm excited for that one. I will look into it when time comes. But again, yes. But now on the flip side, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They may have one of these like every month to kind of give you updates on how their products are coming along and what's going on. We don't know.
If that was the trend, then that's okay. But that's not the trend.
Yeah,
we know that's
know.
not the trend. We know that they release monthly reviews. If they did, then it would be like, okay, we'll see something develop over time.
Yeah, it might be kind of cool. Who knows? They might do that.
And that would be cool if they do that.
So this, talking about derailing, maybe this isn't derailing because we'll tie it back to the original topic here. We're being hypercritical of what little information they showed us, right?
Right.
Yes, and I think my hypercriticality is in the little information that they showed us.
So that could backfire though, right? Because like here's a perfect example. I love stealth. Derrick does not. Stealth, he runs away. Stealth, I run towards it, right? It's very different. But like
really
in Stalker is going to have stealth in it.
Creepy,
but like, what does that mean? Is that something potentially that Derrick would like? Is that something potentially I won't like? Right? Who knows, right?
And I fully admit what Steve's saying is correct, that I'm closing myself off to a potentially amazing game because the word stealth is in it, which speaks back to the topic of this conversation. And I am knowingly.
We did not click the Tell Me Now button when the Kickstarter comes out, where I know I clicked on the Tell Me Now button on two of them, but not on one. When it comes, because Awaken Realms does that. They're kind of like, hey, click here and you can find out when the Kickstarter comes out, or whatever.
Well, what I really like about the two of these gentlemen here on this chat, as well as the community, is that Steve's going to look into it, and Steve and I are going to talk about it, even though stealth is not my thing. We're still going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then from there, he might pique my curiosity to look at. Yeah. But probably not.
Probably not. Or he'll read into it like, there's a lot of stealth, and it's just ignore it, Derrick. You're fine. But yeah, so I did for the other two. I think the dragon one is actually probably the most interesting to me. Mostly because I'm a sucker for dragons, and Pokemon is something that does interest me to some extent, right? And I'm curious, when you don't have the Pokemon IP, how you're going to differentiate yourself from that IP, where people are going to compare all the time, or maybe you can make yourself unique in some way. And I'm curious how they're going to approach that one. So it's more of a curiosity, and it's so different than anything else that they have. Because when I see Stalker, I say, okay, there's another video game IP. We've seen these happen all the time. I'm sure it's going to be good to some extent. Do I need it? Who knows? So
This War of Mine was amazing. They do good.
It was fantastic.
Again, we're going to reveal mysteries about ourselves. I did not know that Steve has a passion for dragons.
I at least knew that. I'm a better friend.
I know that.
There you go. Take that.
Again, we are finding out about our friends.
Also found that
no,
Derrick
but-
doesn't like zoos, so there we go.
Yeah, it's we learn, right? This is the whole
Yeah.
journey of friendship. We're gonna learn about each other together.
See, so then in the future, I can see Steve convincing Derrick to go to a dragon zoo and try to convince him that these are okay.
Dragon Zoo.
Dragon Zoo would be awesome. That would be cool.
We'll talk more about why I dislike zoos, but it's not because you could go and have a good time at a zoo. It's what a zoo represents. So
Yeah,
anyway.
I know why. You like them.
I know where you're coming from. Oh, but now, just on a flip side here, I think that they're going to do great with IPs that are similar but not the same as an IP that's already out there. I mean, when Nemesis came out, I don't know how they didn't get sued from Fox for that. That's like as close to an Alien as you could possibly get.
There's one more game that's even closer.
What,
And
Aliens?
No, Lifeform.
Oh yeah, Lifeform.
Lifeform is Alien, the board game. You have to rescue the cat. You have to get off the ship, and you should have the final fight with the alien in the escape ship. While the ship that you're on explodes.
I have been trying to get a hold of that game since dawn of time. I didn't even realize how close to a real alien game it is.
It is unreasonably. It is more close than Nemesis is, like by miles. And Mike has that game. He bought it from me. So
I know. I tried to make him ship it to me. He said he was working on it. Maybe when I go to Gen Con, maybe they'll have a copy laying around there.
Cool.
But yeah.
All right. I think that's probably gonna wrap up our chat for today. Very on topic chat, like normal.
I wonder if we should just be like, all right, we're just gonna have co-op chat today. Hey, what do you want to talk about?
That's not a bad idea, honestly. That's not a bad idea. Actually, to be frank, I would love to have just an open question and answer from the live chat.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Like,
that would be
just
amazing.
come on here, you guys ask whatever you want, and we respond to it. I'm totally fine with that. It's hard to generate that. Sometimes have people just come on being willing to ask whatever question they want.
Yes.
Sometimes it can work really, really well. Other times it doesn't. So, but that'd be awesome. Okay, let's go around the table and kind of talk about what's coming up on channels. Derrick, what do you got?
What's today? I got lost in like the board game play that I did over the past 3 days. Tomorrow I'm playing Edge of the Earth with Kate and Cynthia on Tabletop Simulator for Arkham Horror LCG, continuing our campaign. Tuesday I am not painting with Bairnt. Instead, I'm putting an organizer together with Bairnt for the game that he said he's getting rid of, and Trespass Odyssey.
That was a lie. Misquote.
So I will be on Bairnt's channel. Meet me at the table. We'll be putting together our organizers together. And Thursday, Pac-Man actually is going to be coming back for us to play more board games, probably more Skyrim. We're playing Campaign 2.
Sweet.
And so we'll play more of that. And then hopefully, if everything's cool and everything checks out with you, Steve, it might be a Game of Blues weekend, but that depends on you and I will plan that.
Yep.
So, Bairnt, what do you got coming?
Tuesday, I'm building an insert with Kanji. It's going to be amazing. Please come join me over at my channel. We're going to chit chat about Aeon Trespass, the one mission we've all played, and also other games and fun that we have. We're going to do that. Then I still have my Skyrim video I'm trying to put out. I still haven't gotten that edited up yet. I think I said that last week. That'll be coming out. I'd like to play more Skyrim. Actually, on our last painting stream, my airbrush broke, so I didn't have any prime minis to paint. I felt really bad, so we decided to paint up some of Derrick's favorite game. We painted up some Madara figures. So I'm actually jumping back into Madara. I haven't been back to that game for a while, so I'm excited to get back to that one. So I'm going to hopefully record an episode of Madara sometime soon. Then Colin is going to join me on Monday, our Monday Oathsworn Day. I've also been playing ISS Vanguard, but right now we are going to blow through Oathsworn. We are not stopping. We are going to just play. We might stop occasionally, maybe not, because we want to get to Aeon Trespass Odyssey. In order to do that, we really want to finish our Oathsworn campaign because we still want to keep ISS Vanguard going. So we didn't want to do 3 different campaigns going on, look like a truck or something coming
I'm
through.
doing that with Thor.
Yeah, so that wasn't going to work for us. So, but the beauty of Derrick's little Kanji Studios over there is he can like put 3 videos out a week. I get like 1 watch on the phone. That's about it. 1 day a week if we're lucky. So that's I think that's about all. And I'm also reading through my 250-page rule book of League of Dungeoneers. Good news, you don't have to read it all because doesn't matter if you get it wrong. No, I'm totally kidding. Because they actually
just tricking Steve.
We did a little thing in there that actually says like, hey, if you really want to jump into the game, here's like read these pages. So there's like so much just lore and backstory stuff and just the and like the whole exploration thing. You can go without that if you want to just really jump into this game. So we're gonna jump into it at least for 2 episodes, I think, just to kind of see how it plays out. And I'm kind of when I was not excited for this game when I originally got it. I had no idea what it was about or anything, but as I did the unboxing and read into a little bit what was going on, I'm like, wow, this game looks amazing. It's very Dungeon Universalis, but I think it's got a lot more going for it that is going to be super cool. I think it's a very sandboxy game. Oh boy, I talked a lot.
Sandbox. I like sandbox.
Oh yeah,
Me too.
you're going to love sandbox.
Yeah, Steve,
build castles out of it and everything. No, you don't build castles.
Steve, what are you doing?
Well, speaking of sandbox, going to be starting Isofaron Guard playthroughs. So it's going to start tomorrow morning. I'll answer your question in a second, Stacy. But yeah, so Isofaron Guard Sunday morning. Skyrim. I would like to finish our custom campaign going against the Big Dragon on Monday. That depends on Kim. Unfortunately, my Kim is currently sick, so whenever she's better, we will finish that up. I'm hoping she'll be better soon, but if not, I will have to push that out, and I'll slot something else in on Monday. Wednesday will be our Marvel United. If keep checking through that one. We're getting close to kind of wrapping up that campaign. Actually, there's not a whole lot.
We're getting there. We've been marching through that. So
yeah, so that's moving along, and I think that's basically it. Probably do co-op chat on Saturday, and maybe Game of Palooza this weekend. We'll see. So, all right, Stacy, quick question: do you guys ever play quick half-hour games offline? If so,
yes.
what? Yes, I do.
Yes.
Marvel United is a big one. That one looks really fast to get played.
It's not Marvel United. She should have put that in.
I've played Wreckland Run offline. I've played One Deck Dungeon offline. I've played
Are those all half-hour games?
Yeah, they're super short games. I've played it. They're like Warp's Edge, which is a really quick game.
Yeah.
I played Veilwraith offline, which is a quick game.
I've been playing Deck of Wonders a lot. That's another half-hour game, really fast.
Thanks, Jan. Thanks, Jan. That's amazing.
Said Bairnt is looking for a 30-minute. Isn't that Tiny Epic? Isn't Tiny Epic a fast play game?
I don't have any Tiny Epic games.
Actually, not really. They're small packaged, but they like take up a lot of space, and they sometimes take a while. They're probably,
I don't have
probably
many.
close to an hour. So.
Okay.
In fact, I do have Tiny Epic Vikings, and I started to play through that one, figured that one out, and then Isofaron Guard showed up, so that got swept off the table.
Yeah, some 30-minute games, but most of them they're more for my family. Like I wouldn't say they're kid games, but they're just like that type of game. Like we've got like that Zombie Kids. We've got Dungeon Slide. What's that one we got, Steve? That Dungeon Slider game?
Oh, that's a great one. Slide Quest.
Slide Quest. Yep,
That's
we got that one.
That's fun.
My wife and I play Paleo quite a bit and Paint the Roses. Yep. That kind of games.
Paint the Roses is a good one. Yep.
Definitely. Villagers and Streets is also a couple that hit my table quite a bit with my wife because we enjoy those. But my wife's not a big fan of having something sit there. She also enjoys ones that have like pure stopping points. So a lot of like the Exit and games like that type of thing. Like we really got into the, oh my gosh, I forget, Enigma. Those Enigma games where they actually have like different parts where you kind of come to a stopping point. There's like usually about 5 chapters, 6 chapters in the like mystery quest, and so we kind of can do those usually in about 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And Myth we also play in 30 minutes. No, we don't.
There's another game that I play with my son and my girlfriend is Project L. I played that a lot with them, which is basically Tetris, the board game. And it is
I remember that game on Kickstarter. I was so sad I didn't back that one. It looked so cool.
It's a fun game. My son loves it. He loves that game. So I play that with him, and that's about a 30-minute game.
Need to pick that up.
I play a lot of games on Tabletop Simulator as well, because that's real easy. You've got 30 minutes to jump on there and play that real fast. But it really depends. So
yeah, so we have 30-minute games.
Cool.
But, yeah.
Okay, I think that's probably gonna end it for today. Thanks, Bairnt and Derrick, for joining.
Yeah, you're welcome, Steve. I hope Kim gets better.
Thanks.
Yeah, we hope for a speedy recovery, and sorry for derailing like we usually do.
We are
never derail.
I'm the only one that has not gotten sick, so I'm super excited about that. That's mainly because I've been living down here.
Oh, my good friend, when you go to Gen Con, I'm dragging both of you to an after party I've been invited to, and so we're gonna get sick together.
It'll be fun times.
Woo!
Cool. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you at the next stop.
All right,
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.